It's like the S meter is off kilter tonight. Somebody's been playing with the radio, no doubt. Now, if I can only find those jingle singers. It appears you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you may not find us on your TV because in case you did not
heard nothing. Would it appear that way?
It would appear for you to hear something.
It sounds that way. No audio.
I gotta plug something in again.
It's only been an hour. What'd you change? The Google bots.
All right, let's see if it will work this time.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Well, at least the jingle singers and Mr. Announcer and X4000 are wired into the audio system here. I think I am as well. Trying to find the right camera switch. There we go. Your Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Real Radio's glowing in the dark. My name is Dennis. At least it'll be that way for a couple of hours. I'll stick to that. Your Old Tube Radio Network, beaconing from Central California. 27085 is where we are in the RF zone. If you are able to hear us, whether it's local or DX, you can also pick up this feed, this broadcast, if you will, at oldtuberadio.net. And I think there might be a YouTube video stream going on around somewhere. So hello to all of you. The Old Tube Radio Network, something we've been doing for the last 35 years on this channel, a way for radio operators to get together and maybe relive the sounds and sights and smells and equipment of the radio genre back in the 1960s and 1970s. The old tube radios, you know, the kind of glow-in-the-dark, they're out there. A lot of you have them, and we will be checking in with you later on tonight. Thanks for taking some time out of your Saturday evening to be around with us. We'll be checking in with the shortwave listeners, the SWLs who like to listen in and may or may not have a radio that glows in the dark, but that's okay. Everyone is welcome here on the Old Tube Radio Network. So for those of you joining us online or over the air or perhaps beaconing in from one of the Facebook pages, good evening to you. And we'll get started tonight. I'm not sure if we are going to have some special items tonight. I see when I came in, I noticed that the U-Haul that serves as the tour bus for the Espresso Trucking Company was illegally parked out in the OTR parking lot. So maybe they'll be around this evening. Rumors have it that we might be getting a live feed from Christmas Tree Lane if it's open. I know it's been really, really busy, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But starting off now, we'll go to the roll call and the shortwave listeners. And first off, I would like to call SWL 00.
Well, please tell me this thing is working.
I hear you fine. Over.
All right. Well, good evening to all. This is SWL 00. Wishing everyone a great evening again and saying hello from a rather chilly, I think it's in the low 50s, 52, 53 degree, rather top secret location in Fresno. So good evening to all.
You are sounding good from the top secret location, good audio, and a good signal. We had finally had some rain early this morning and a little bit today. The sun never quite came out. It's beginning to feel a lot like December in the San Joaquin Valley. Very chilly. So you are a brave person to be out there in a secret location. We have got you checked in, and you are sounding good. Over.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, it may rain today, but the air is absolutely positively wonderful out here. Nice, crisp, and clean, and quite enjoyable as cold as it is. So thank you.
All right, thank you for beaconing in on the Old Tube Radio Network. Next we have, let's see, I should have my, there we go. Let's bring the S meter in, and it's not even looking good. I think someone bumped the S meter, but be able to give yourself a radio check when you check in. SWL number 1 from the Cosmic side is checked in. SWL number 2. I should take a look and see who's up on the video side tonight. Chrissy and Dwayne are in. Hello to Felix, who is listening in. Also, I never can see this. Is it Epithemidius 83? I'll get that right one time. He's listening in as well. Hello to the Mighty Juliet Whiskey. John is out there. Mr. JW is listening in from Iowa, KJG 4755, and a host of others. So we'll see who's out there. I don't see Mr. OBP yet. How about SWL3? I need the special OTR pen tonight, which I can't really officially do until we get into the radio check-ins. SWL4. Shortwave listener 5. I did see Mama Rose earlier in the week, and she was doing okay. So say hello to all the tube radio operators and SWLs. SWL6. Got a pre-check-in for SWL7. He said he might be in the radio room before we sign out tonight. SWL10 is Chrissy is out there. They are listening in. What did Dwayne say? It looks like we are on the first getting conditions very late from Southern California and Idaho. So we'll see if something happens tonight. I know last night on the sideband net, there was some stations, and I think they were from Arizona or New Mexico. They were on the upper side around this time, so we'll see what happens. But I think it's been pretty quiet. It's been quiet, and I don't know if that's the sun doing that, the sunspots, the CME or whatever, but we'll see what happens tonight. Always open for hearing anybody, anywhere. Thanks, Chrissy, for checking in. SWL 13. And I'll try and keep an eye out. Looks like the comments are refreshing okay, so I'll keep an eye out there. Also on the Facebook page, do go back and check that if you check in there. Over to SWL 14. SWL 15. SWL 16. Let me see who's on the board tonight. We've got Belfast, Maine, Clovis, Woodward Park, Centerville. Hello to the UK. They're in Leyland, San Francisco. The gang out in BC up there in Squamish waiting for some conditions. Hello to Woodburn, Oregon, Inglewood, Colorado, Boulder Creek, listening in from California, Dallas, Georgia, Hendersonville, Tennessee will be coming up to you. In South Carolina, Moncks Corner, Oakland, Fresno, and a host of others. I'm going to go a proxy check-in for Charles. Over to SWL 17.
Good evening, Dennis and the SWLs out there. 17 checking in.
All right, well, my radio is still managing to function, although we don't know how long. Yours is sounding good as usual. Thank you, Eric. SWL 18. SWL 19, and that, of course, is Chet out there in Derby, New York, by way of Belfast, Maine, who, when I walked in the door this late afternoon, I came in late, and he said, everything is cool, right? And I said, nah, yeah, except we're just going to pull out all the radio gear and then reconnect it, minus a whole bunch of stuff to see if we can get rid of the RF, which we did. That actually took care of my RF issues, but as usual, it created a whole bunch of stuff. So Chet 19, thanks for hanging in there. I think we've got part of it going with no problem. Over to SWL 20.
Number 20 here. Check me in. 2954 and on this soggy night, 135.
Yes, now that we've got our first rain, then the Thule fog shouldn't be far behind, especially when we get to temperatures that are going down into the upper 30s, I think, at least here in the flatlands. I'm sure it's going to be a lot cooler up in the hills. Thanks for checking in, and I'm sure you were enjoying the heated radio room.
Oh, pretty much, but I'm in the middle of working right now, the whole month, so I'll be back in a little bit and just check in maybe just one radio tonight. Okay, we will be back a little later.
Okay, we should be here to accommodate those check-in items. Next on the list is Mr. JT, SWL 21. I was so busy trying to make this station work here tonight, I don't even know what happened in the Wasama Swamps, home of the world's longest ground rod, which has been confirmed by the Guinness Book of World Records. They still do that. I have not seen a Guinness Book of World Records for probably about 30 years, so I'm sure they have added 21 in there. I also wanted to say, you know what? You did, was it Skip Plan? Let me go to SWL 21 here. Which one are you on? No, you're on that one. Are you on that one? No, you're on this one. Go to SWL 20. Oh, and I can hear myself. So let's get rid of me. No, you're on that one. I like the dual audio. So what's going on? He's on channel 28. You're on 38. It said 38 lower. Anything going on? What was going on today? You always get the skip conditions that we don't get here. This was 12:12, so this is today sometime. Well, there it is. That's what's going on. Your radio of choice. Radio of choice was the Lafayette. I can't see that. A Telstat of some sort with lots of meters and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 knobs. So good luck on the skip land today, and we'll see what we can get tonight. We've got you checked in. The ground rod sounding good. Over to SWL 22. SWL 23. Mitch, somewhere, I think I saw you on the chart. Let me scroll down and see. Checking in from Monterey Bay Aquarium, where the marine mammals are so bored, the otters are taking on the sea lions in an epic water polo match. It's the otters 3, the lions 2, no lion. Okay, well, no lion on the lions. Give us a report. Maybe the squids and the octopi will jump in there, or they're refereeing. Thank you, Mitch, for he puts one ground rod into the aquarium tank and usually gets out quite well with that salt water, but just be careful when you do that. SWL 24. All right, I think I hear your audio, Joseph. I've got you checked in. SWL 25.
25 checking in, Dennis.
Okay, how are things going on the ranch tonight?
I think everything seems to be working. Everything's fine. And the house lights are up, and it is the season. Anyway, thanks, Dennis.
It 'tis the season, indeed, for a few more days at least. You are sounding good, and we've got you checked in. I will also get 74 as well.
Thanks, Dennis.
Then we go over to SWL 27.
27's checking in via the FM crossband. KI6QN.
And there is 27 via the FM crossband. We hear you loud and clear and have you checked in fine. KB6GFD.
You're right.
All right, from the crossband, Dwayne sounding good. He's got a way to listen in on one radio, talk on another radio, and then answer me somewhere else. I don't know how he does it, but at least we're hearing it. Over to, where are we going? Oh, going up to Sacramento, where I'm sure it was raining as it was here, at least early this morning. Sacramento can often get more rain than we do because they're a little bit closer. They get the items from the Bay Area. 28 is checking in and said he's ready for another great show. I am ready for another great show. It's just, I don't know. We'll have to find someone who can do a great show for us. Thanks, Gary, for checking in. So 28 is in. We've also got a proxy check-in for 29. And, oh, there it is, DD21. So he said he was just, that was earlier, just running the live show tonight. It was a Browning Mark III, but I think it smoked in the mode switch. Uh-oh. So midstream, I hooked up to the, then, oh, the Regency Imperial. I'm going to have to go and find that playback. I'm going to have to go ahead and find the Regency playback. I'm sorry I missed that. I was working on my own smoked things over here, so... Very good. Good on the Regency. And I'm hoping, I've got a device that may help me get my Regency back on the air, but when I took it out of the box, it wasn't functioning. So I got to fix the thing that's supposed to fix my radio. We'll see what happens. The problem is one of the things came from China. The other thing, of course, the Regency did not. So I know it will work. It's the other thing I'm worried about. Okay, we are looking for SWL 30. I know Dwayne is in there. He is listening. He's got 27085 up on all the radios in the Radio Shack tonight, waiting for any speck of skip of DX coming from the Central Valley. Thanks, Dwayne. We'll see if we can hear you tonight. SWL 31, that is Robert and Teresa from Hendersonville, and they are... out and about, listening in at oldtuberadio.net. So we'll make sure we get you checked in there tonight. I hope all is well up there in Hendersonville and all the stations tuning in from Hendersonville tonight. SWL 32. SWL 33, myself, Bozo Control, the Jingle Singers, anybody that... happens to walk by the green room tonight and wants to check in, we'll put you in as 33. And Paul, hi Paul, says, what is the FM crossband? It is one of the radios over here that is tuned to a local simplex frequency that's patched into the board so that those that may have an SWL receiver on 11 meters but maybe don't have a transmitter but are able to transmit on the 2-meter side can crossband in with their check-in. So we've had that for a while. I just recently sort of have patched it in so I can hear everybody when they come in. But that's what's going on here on Simplex. So you'd have to be pretty close to be heard on that. Next, we go to SWL 34, and I did see Mr. Railroader up when I scrolled through earlier, and he is checking in tonight from Batavia, Illinois, in the Fox River Valley of Chicagoland. Out there in the land of Hallicrafters and whatever else was going on there. And thanks for checking in. And then here we are complaining about rain and cold, and SWL 35 is probably in short sleeves tonight, checking in from snowy Cheyenne, Wyoming. Okay, it is doing its thing there. Well, hopefully you've got the snowmobile or snow tires or whatever it is that you need to have to survive out there up and running. Thanks for checking in, Mr. Bill. Over to SWL 36. SWL 37.
SWL 37 checking in, and good evening, Dennis.
And good evening, Chris. Sounding good. We've got you checked in.
Thank you much. I'll be back.
SWL 38. SWL 39. SWL 40.
SWL 40 checking in from Chinatown.
And did you say you had a power outage there earlier?
Yeah, I did, but it was just local. One of the breakers had tripped, so I got that taken care of about 20 minutes later.
Okay. Well, there are breakers, and then there are breakers. Some of them you can fix. Some of them you can check in. All right. Well, you're sounding good. The power is back, and we've got you checked in. Next is SWL 41, Road Dog 507. Let me see if he has jumped on the list here tonight, or yet, I guess I should say. I see Joe 433 Roadrunner checking in from Millville, New Jersey. Who else is out there listening? I don't see 507 in just yet, but I will keep an eye out. Over to SWL 42.
Yeah, it's Proxy 42 in the gang.
I will do that. Then SWL 43. I'm going to get Eddie checked in. SWL 44. Well, I don't hear him live and direct. Don't see him on the... going to be... Oh, okay. DDX. Yes, you are there. Going to be 16. What did you even go up higher in altitude? I can't believe it's going to be... Well, maybe I can. Especially if it clears up. If you don't have any cloud cover, it will definitely be a little bit chilly tonight. So we got you checked in. And yes, 44. Got you, Ray. Thank you. Over to SWL 45.
45 checking in, if you can hear me.
I can hear you fine. Over.
Great. Have a little problem, but it's just... Thanks, Dennis.
Okay, well, this is the having a little problems frequency, and you're in good company. You're sounding good. I'll be interested to hear what it is you are chatting on. And yes, Toto, we are definitely not in Kansas anymore. SWL 46. SWL 47.
Well, good evening one more time. This is SWL 47 transmitting live for your listening pleasure from, where else? Christmas Tree Lane.
Did you manage to get in? I have been seeing some very large traffic anomalies trying to get in the gate there. So it sounds like you have maybe the special ticket to get in. Maybe you've got the OTR pass.
Well, I don't know if I have the OTR pass, but when you're walking down the street with Radio Shack TRC 217, I think some people are kind of mistaking me for the COVID-19 quarantine patrol, like I'm trying to make sure that there aren't more than 10 people gathered in one particular location. People are kind of avoiding me. I don't know if it's that or this huge antenna that's poking out of the radio I'm on. But yeah, it is. Things are definitely buzzing over here. I'm actually standing right next to the original house that this whole thing started at. For those of you that may not be familiar with it, in 1920, I believe it was, there was a child that passed away that I think lived in a house that I'm standing in front of right now, right on the intersection of Van Ness and Pontiac in what's known as the Old Fig Garden District. So that December 1920, the family put some Christmas lights apparently out in a star, I believe that's the correct pronunciation of it, cedar tree out in front of the house. And during the following years, more and more homes decided to light their trees in front of their homes, and now we've got. I just walked it earlier. One way, it's about 1.6 miles of homes that just look absolutely spectacular. It's just breathtaking out here.
And they've been doing for almost 100 years. I've got a picture up at old2radio.net. Anybody watching the video feed will see the entrance. This is a road in Fresno, and there are houses on either side, and it goes for about 2 miles, called Christmas Tree Lane. That is where, Mike, that is where 47 is. If you're on the portable, it sounds really good. You're in a great spot. And those, the very large cedar trees he was speaking of, get decorated all the way down for the 2 miles, and then each residence, almost all residences in down on either side of the road, also have really spectacular Christmas decorations that are animated or very well lit, and it goes on. They do have a walk night, although I think they canceled that due to the COVID-19 restrictions, but somehow you have managed to get out and about on the portable unit, and it's sounding good. Over.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, they normally, I think they have 2 walk nights where they do close Van Ness to car traffic. They didn't do that this year, obviously because of COVID, but to be really honest with you, people are walking it right now. I'm staring at them. There are bike riders, bicycle riders going up and down. They're walkers. I got to say, it's pretty spectacular. I've been out here for a while, and it's pretty heartwarming to hear some of the young kids, poking their heads out the windows, actually talking to some of the decorations that you referred to. Yeah, all the homes, most of the homes, I should say, I think with only maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, most of the homes have some beautiful decorations. Everything from, I think there's 2 or 3 homes that have Charlie Brown decorations, and it just runs the gamut all the way up to, oh goodness sakes, there's a National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the Christmas Vacation movie with Chevy Chase in it. One home's got that out front. I think one of our family favorites is the kind of stop motion Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Christmas special that I actually don't remember when they did that, but there's a home that's got characters out front that the homeowner actually constructed himself. It just looks absolutely wonderful. Yeah,
very elaborate. And like I said, lots of animation and lots of lights. The electricity bill, they spare no expense for the 2 weeks or so that Christmas Tree Lane is up and running. All right, very good. I will let you put your hands back in your pocket to stay warm. A great signal. We're getting a good transmission from you there, and I've been trying to pop up a few photos and things that describe, or at least in the words eye view of what is going on. But of course, as you know, and as we all know, you've got to be there to experience the 2 miles. I believe if you start at the one end and walk all the way through, it's about 2 miles of really fantastic stuff. And you think putting on an OTR is difficult each week. Try doing this every year. Good stuff. Back to you for a final transmission, and thanks for keeping us checked in and updated on what is sort of our holiday tradition here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over.
Oh, thank you. It's such a pleasure to do this. Anyone that's listening, things are rather busy tonight. You can't, I think the official hours of this thing is 6 o'clock until 9. Actually, they have different weekend hours. I can't remember exactly what it is. 6 to 10, I think, during the weekdays, and maybe 6 to 11 during the weekends. But to be honest with you, if you come a little bit sooner than that, it's practically a ghost town. I think I was walking it at just a little after 5 o'clock until almost 6, and it was almost a ghost town. It's great tradition to check a radio in, or at least just say hello, I guess, on a transistorized radio. It's pretty cool to participate in this. Everyone ought to come on down sometime. It doesn't have to be Saturday night. Drive the lane, and of course try and find the Santa's reindeer. They're kind of strewn all down the street there, and it's kind of a fun thing to try and drive the lane and see if you can find them all. And don't do it right now, but for those of you that have the capacity to tune to, goodness sakes, what's the FM frequency that they're doing? 92.5. The Big Garden Police District, I believe, has their own radio station that at nighttime has kind of transitioned into Christmas music. So 92.5, it's not a strong transmitter. I think technically they're only supposed to do 100 watts, but the signal was suspiciously good tonight. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, thanks for letting me say hello. It's a great privilege to do this, and on that, I think I'm going to send it back to you. 73, sir.
All right, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, 92.5, it's a low-power FM, one of the low-power FM stations, and that's almost the only thing that they do is the transmission of Christmas Tree Lane. I'm not exactly sure where their transmitters. It may not actually be close to where you're at, but sounds like it is working. From Christmas Tree Lane here in Central California, Fresno, coming up on 100 years of that tradition, and a tradition for us here at the Old Tube Radio Network, live on your 27 meter, or your 11 meter 27 meg radio. Sounding good. Thanks, Mike. And back to the roll call. We will have the glow-in-the-dark radios coming up shortly. We're looking for SWL 48. SWL 49. I give Brian a proxy check, and he managed to find a radio that would thwart his interference. I think he found something that had a Collins mechanical filter, and it really helped on his QRM and QRN, and he sounded pretty decent last night on the sideband net. So we'll get, Brian, if you're listening, we got you checked in. Over to SWL 50.
Good evening, one and all. 50 checking in. And would you proxy 650?
All right, 650, we'll get the proxy. 50's got the X in the square, and as always, sounding good down here into the flatlands. Thanks. Then over to 305 Dave, SWL 51.
SWL 51, checking in.
And sounds like you've got the Christmas tree going over there. It's doing a good job here tonight. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, Dennis. Have a good evening.
Then SWL 52. I did see behind the golden microphonium, Aaron was getting an early check-in tonight on the video screen. So, Aaron, if you watch this back here listening, you are checked in. Mr. USY, over to SWL 53.
Yeah, good evening there, Dennis. SWL 53 checking in.
And 53 sounded good, Bob. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, sir.
And someone asking, Mitch asking, what the heck was that transmitter he was on? He was on a portable, I think it's a TRC 217 from Radio Shack, standing out there. Christmas Tree Lane is probably 2 miles to the west of where I'm at. It might actually be farther away than that. And it's 2 miles, so depending where he was, it could be 3 or 4 miles. But I think he's got a good spot right straight about 2.5 miles away. So not bad for a 5-watt portable unit. He must have polished up the batteries. Next is SWL 54, and we will get Mr. Board Jammer checked in. SWL 55.
55 checking in.
Hey, sounding good. Heard you last night on the sideband net and doing a good job on AM tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis.
M&M sounding good. And here's a station that is amongst the trees of Christmas Tree Lane, but maybe I guess you're a little bit south of the festivities there, but you probably get a lot of the traffic. SWL 56.
Well, good evening, Dennis. I'm directly east of the festivities and enjoying it.
All right, you can hear the lights. Let's see, you can hear the lights and see the sounds of Christmas Tree Lane. Sounding good. I know you've got your cedar tree decked out in probably some really interesting steampunk miniatures. Thanks for checking in. Then we head over to SWL 57. Mr. Brown Dog Audio is checking in. He's cooling the tubes off from a crazy night of skip last night. That's what I heard, that things are coming in during the day and coming in at night. We had a few stations coming in last night on the sideband net. He had the fans going on all night, bringing the elements back down from the nuclear status. Yeah, just don't go nuclear too much anyway. And we are right at the bottom of cycle 25, and there are rumors now. The first rumors a year ago was like 25 is going to be a dud, like 24 we're in some type of marauder or minimum. Now they're saying, I don't know about that. 25 could be this gigantic, what was like a Carrington event, the 1850s. You know, hold on to your CW keys because they may start bursting in flames. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait a little bit to see what cycle 25 is going to be like. But it is definitely here. Thanks there, Brown Dog. Let's go over to SWL 58.
He would like a proxy. He had a tough day at the contest today. He was a big contester today. So, yeah, proxy in 58.
Yeah, 10-meter contest going on. I don't know if it's just specifically for 10 meters, but usually that's a good way to charge up the ionosphere to get all those kilowatt-plus stations out beaconing over the airwaves. I'm not sure. It seemed like the band was not quite as good, so you had to probably work a little bit. So good for him. I'm not sure what the hours of the contest, if it's still going. Maybe we'll jump up there after the net and see what's going on. All right, Jeremy is checked in. He does run the sideband, the Ditch Banks sideband net, which happens here in the Central Valley on Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on channel 36 lower. So jump on down to 27,365, won't you? And give it a try, whether you're close or far out. We did have some far out stations check in last night, so give it a shot. SWL 59. And X4000 saying it's about 2.5 miles. He must have got the calipers out and did some measuring. Thanks, X4000. 2.5 miles from the Baker Oscar Zulu Oscar control point to the entrance of Christmas Tree Lane. So not bad for a walkie-talkie and shooting through all the trees there. Next we go to SWL 60.
Thank you there, Dennis, and doggone it, we did get some of that skip last night you were talking about. It was about 10 o'clock there. We kind of interrupted some fellows up here in New Mexico, or Mexico, Sonora, Mexico, while they were talking there, and we got in and spoke to them for a while. The skip was weird. But anyway, with Jerry's permission here, I'd like to check in the 291 base, the DX2527.
Consider it done. It is right here on my sheet next to Hustler. It says also 291 DX2527 radio. Putting a check on that one.
Thank you much.
And good night to Paul, 73 to you, who is checking out. I know we're here on the West Coast, and we start at 8 p.m. So it just as you traverse across to the east side, if you will, it gets a little bit late. So we always appreciate those who stay up late with us on the old Tube Radio Network, or try to anyway, into the wee hours. Over to SWL 61.
51, checking in, Dennis.
Sounding good, Dean. We've got you checked in. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
And I will say this is week 8 of the 8-week roster. So next week we will be checking out a new 00 from those with perfect attendance, and there are quite a few, including that station that just checked in. Let's try SWL 62. The reverse Q-Bird option. I'm not sure what that is. SWL 63. Oh, that's Butterbean. He was out there. 63, Butterbean, we out there in North Georgia. We got you checked in. He said he was going to check out early. It's been one of those long days. So if you're listening, Butterbean, we do have you checked in. How about SWL 64? SWL 65?
Can I proxy him, please, Dennis?
Absolutely. We got a proxy check in for Eric. No problem.
Thank you.
SWL 66. Shortwave listener 67. Let me go back over to the other screen. And who was listening in from Oregon? Woodburn. Also, I bet that's Bill. I know it usually says can be, but we've had a couple of swapperoos on the IP addresses. So I'll put them down. Oregon is in the house, and so that should be good, as well as Monk's Corner, Anoka, Minnesota. Okay, let me get Anoka, and I think I missed you on the top side of things when I was checking in SWL 16. So Charlie, we got you in there. Page 3 is where we're at, and we are looking for SWL 68. SWL 69. And I'm marking it. That's Kenny out there in Tulsa. I haven't seen him wave a hand yet, but no doubt if he can't make the live broadcast, he will be out on the replay, so no problem. SWL 70. And hello to, speaking of the East Coast, hello to Levon, who is listening in from 165 out of New York, where it is probably late or early and cold. Thanks, Levon, for tuning in. Over to SWL 71. And there is Mr. Announcer on the RCA 44 Microphonium. Hi, Stan. Thanks for listening. Over to SWL 72. SWL 73. We've got 74 checked in. And a couple of people, I didn't realize the SWLs have eyes. Albert saying, hey, what happened to the bozo behind you? You know, like I said, I took everything out. I took everything off that shelf to get rid of the RF, and I'm putting it back one piece at a time. So, who was it? Yeah, Rob noticed that the D201 is missing, the 2100 is missing, the Browning is missing. You can't fool those guys from Colorado. And then, of course, Albert says, where the heck is Bozo? And where is Bozo? Well, you know what? Bozo needed some repair, so he's in the repair shop. But there's another one. Hold on. I'm going to sneak off camera here. There is always a Bozo. There is always a Bozo at Bozo Control. So, all right. There we go. Boy, you know, I'm slipping up. It takes the SWLs to kind of tap you on the shoulder and say, what's going on here? Okay, where was I? We checked in Miss Julie. Let's try SWL 75. Now, if you think I'm going to take the 2100B and set it on the mic boom, that is not going to happen. SWL 77.
Well, good evening, Dennis, and hello to everybody out there on the net and the radio. 77 on the Tower of Power in the Tower District checking in, and I got a message from Georgia 1 that I spoke to about 11 o'clock today. Wasn't real strong. The conditions were kind of weak, but he did get in there and wave a hand. We had a good QSO, and he said to let everybody know in Fresno a great big hello and a Merry Christmas. So we had a little fun with the DX today.
So it was running. I don't think it was as good as it has been. But Dennis has got the Tower of Power. So if there's anybody that can be heard in the area, it could be and should be you. So good you broke a hole into the skip land today.
Yeah, we sure did.
All right, sounding good. And we do have you checked in. Thanks. We are and don't go away. The radios will be beaconing through here. The old tube radios. This is the old tube radio network, right? So we should have a few radios now and then. SWL 78. That is Richard somewhere, sometimes in Washington. He will probably be by in a moment. SWL 79. I'm going to check. I thought I heard Philip in earlier doing some testing, so I'll get Philip checked in. Shortwave listener 80. And I will turn the page. Although this is sort of the time where I look to our Ohio gang, the Bob and Steve show, and see what I'm missing by staying here in the air chair and not heading over to the green room, which of course many of you will be in tonight as you check in your radios. Let's see what's going on. I'm in uniform tonight. The tie is a little bit crooked. We got the pocket protector ready for the pen, which is somewhere here. And what's happening? What's happening on the other side of the rack down the hall? Happy holidays to all the people on the OTR net. The Jingle Singers ask all the little kids on the block to make OTR Christmas cards to hang on our tree in the balcony. All right. I thought I saw something new dangling on there. Bob and Steve gave all the kids a candy cane. I didn't get a candy cane. And when you get time, go look at the cards. They are great. I bet they are. Send your cards in, kids. There's still plenty of time. The Christmas tree that the Jingle Singers made on stage is the green room. on the stage of the green room is made out of old tube radios stacked in the shape of a tree with lights on the radios. That sounds festive and dangerous. Red, white, blue, green, orange. It looks great. I can see it. If I peek through the wires here and through the glass, I can see that. I wonder what that was. It's probably the reason they don't need to turn on the heat. They've got the glowing tube radio Christmas tree beaconing out, glowing in the dark. At the bar tonight over at the lounge, try a healthier baked version of the spicy, tangy wings with blue cheese sauce. And that hails from Buffalo, New York. All the Christmas cheer you can drink, thanks to Bob and Steve. Thank you, Bob and Steve, and the cards over on the green room tonight, the old Tube Radio Network. I think I'm already hearing the skip. SWL 81, that is Mr. Unicorn. Steve, if you are listening, wherever you are at, hanging the tinsel on the Christmas tree, we've got you checked in. And then over to SWL 82.
82, checking in from the Ditch Banks of Iowa. Good evening.
Sounding good from the Ditch Banks. I see you switched to the AM radio that has plate modulation.
Yeah. I guess I'll just stick with this. Stick with the tubes for OTR.
That is a good thing. A good thing out there. Now I wrote this in, but I probably can't do this officially until next week when I do the new roster, because I have to reprint everything and make spaces and all that. But I will, because I did see 83 on earlier this evening. I don't know if you had to check out early tonight, but Epimetheus 83 checking in as 83 with a virtual X in the square. I think I will have a space in next week when we redo the SWL check-in sheets. Let's go over to SWL 84.
84, good evening there, Dennis. I hope all is well there. And little by little, we're improving every single day and every single week. As a matter of fact, I've been getting quite a bit more time on I'm making up comebacks, so be forewarned. Anyway, have a good evening there, Dennis, and I hope all's well there. And if you could check in my girls at the appropriate time, I'd really appreciate it. Oh, and I was in the other room there, but I thought I heard Mr. Eric key up there and check in number 17. So if he's still out there, howdy, Eric. It's been quite a long time there, and hope all is well with you there. So, okay, Dennis, we'll be standing by. Don't have anything warmed up yet, but we might be able to do something a little bit later on there. Roger.
Absolutely not a problem. It's good to hear the mellifluous tones of SWL 84 on the AM mode. We'll get the rest of the gang checked in. And yeah, Eric 17 has been sounding very good from wherever he's beaconing from. It's putting in a good signal here in the control point. So good to have all the crew aboard on the old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, Dennis.
Station.
And the station go, over.
Late check-in, number 79.
And not a problem. I put an X in the square because I knew you were probably listening from somewhere, and I heard you earlier, and you're still sounding great. You are checked in.
Thank you, sir.
And let me see. This is the old Tube Radio Network. We're at the top of the hour, and are they ready? Okay, the Jingle Singers, since I'm taking a little extra time here for the roll call, which is cool, and we had our report from Christmas Tree Lane from 47. So let's the Jingle Singers want to let people know what is happening here at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on the old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR. And we open the station for you is OTR, the old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark. They'll be here shortly, so do not, what do they say? Do not touch that dial. We will be right back with your radios. On the roll call, we are looking for SWL 85. We've got a check-in for SWL 86, SWL 87, and SWL 88. That is the Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl, respectively. Over to SWL 89. SWL 90 has got a check-in. SWL 92. SWL 93. A note to proxy in 93, which I will do. SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis.
All right, Dave, sounding good. We've got you checked in here on OTR tonight.
Thank you very much.
And then over to shortwave listener 103. Sometimes Jeff checks in via Facebook, which is a good way to do it if you can't make it on the air. I'll check for that to SWL 109. SWL 110. SWL 111, who was out there listening but had the noise level in Reedley. Wasn't hearing too much, but I bet we would have heard him. He sounded great last night checking in on sideband. So, Robert, if you're listening, we've got you checked in. SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
114, X in the square. Thanks for jumping into the old Tube Radio Network tonight, Wayne.
Thank you for the check-in.
SWL 128. Let me see who was out there tonight. About an hour ago, John checking in. Listening on the shortwave and maybe taking a few transmissions on the Juliet Lima Foxtrot as well. Not sure if you did some 10-meter stuff, but that seems to be the action place this weekend. Let's go over to, thanks 128, let's go over to SWL 131. SWL 133.
Good evening, Dennis. 133, checking in.
And live and direct at the Microphonium out there in Northwest Fresno. We got you, Dave. Thanks. Have a proxy check in for 135, Mr. Green Arrow. And likewise for AJ 137. And we'll see how Tony is doing up in Course Gold, SWL 145.
Good evening, Dennis and the gang. This is Tony in Course Gold. Hope you can hear me okay tonight.
I hear you just fine. The AM is beaconing fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, had a good early in the week. Was able to get a pulley up about 22 feet up in a tree, getting ready to put my out-center fed dipole up. I was hoping to get 30 feet, but I could only get it at 22 feet up. So I'm hoping to get the ends up about 15 feet. Hopefully that'll work great.
Yep, the higher is better when it comes to antennas, but on a dipole like that, for local stuff, it won't be a problem. And what do they call it? Near vertical incident, NVIS. It works well too if it's low. So good luck on that. And sounds like at least you got a good start.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping to get up there good enough to where I can get on 20 and 40 meters. Looking forward to doing some of that. So we'll just keep playing with it, and I don't have a HF rig hooked up at the time. So hopefully by the time I get the antenna up, I'll have something hooked up.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'm getting back into it with a vertical here. And sometimes it's amazing how far you can go with what do they call it, 100 watts on a wire, or maybe 50 watts on a wire. Sounding good. Tony, good luck. Hope to catch you on some of the other frequencies as well. Thanks for checking in.
Okay, thank you. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. 73, everybody. 145, and we're clear.
And next is SWL 147. Occasionally, Neil will sneak in on me on an earlier check-in. So if I am good at scrolling, and there he is, right on cue. 147 in Kakalaki. Let me put the X in the square before I forget what is going on there tonight. Lively skip all day Friday and into Saturday night. That seems to be what happened across the globe. Friday and Saturday were big days for just about everybody, but quiet today. So it must have been Friday and Friday night. Conditions are picking up. Stay safe and healthy, everybody. 73 from Juliet, Gulf, Quebec. That 6 call. I'm still waiting to contact you, Neil. We'll have a 6 call to 6 call, except we'll be 2,000 miles away. We've got you checked in. Let's go up to where it is definitely a little bit chilly up there. SWL 195.
195 checking in, Dennis. Yeah, it's a little bit cool.
But then again, it is the middle of December, and we probably should have had this little bit of cool a couple of weeks ago. So it has finally happened. Winter is here. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, Dennis. Have a good evening.
Okay, where are we going? SWL 226, Jeff. I'll get Jeff checked in. I heard him. I can hear him on sideband. I hear him on the sideband net. Just can't quite make the AM trip. Also want to say hello to Worldwide Sidebander 101 from Gulf Breeze in Florida. Good to have Florida on. Haven't seen you out there in a while, so hopefully all is well, and the Gulf breezes are beaconing the DX. Also from New York, Smarty Jones is out there listening in. So our usual gang of SWLs is ready to go and waiting for those tube radios. Anybody else before we switch over to the tube radios? All right, let me do that because I'm behind here, and we'll be right back on your old tube radio network. think I've got everything up and reset, so we'll head over to the other studio where they'll say...
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Do people actually cheer and applaud for the Old Tube Radio Network? Sometimes they do, because they know that the finest in tube vintage style radios will be beaconing across their Universal Media Netweb, across their speaker, and it'll just be a lot of fun. It'll remind them of the days of yore, the time when everybody had a good time on the Citizen Band radio, because there just wasn't any other way to have a good time, because that was the only thing going on. And it is here on a Saturday evening on the Old Tube Radio Network. Hi, my name is Dennis, your net controller for the evening here on the Old Tube Radio Network. 27085 is our frequency of choice. Join us if you can from wherever you are, or give a listen at oldtuberadio.net, or perhaps on the YouTube video that's doing the video thing here, doing a little bit of rearranging the shack. That's probably going to take all of next year to finally get done, but at least the radio part is happening. I will be standing by, listening for your radio check-ins. And I hear you, Paul. Boy, I heard that relay kick in and snap on, and there you were. So it sounds like you've got a CB beast beaconing down here. Back to you, over.
Okay, it's my Demco satellite base station. That's the way it is on the web.
All right, let me go through the Rolodex here and see if I can't find the Demco satellite base station. I might even find the one. Yeah, I think I found the one that is your radio. Let's add the S meter. We'll give you a report and take a transmission.
Well, I told you I was having trouble with this thing earlier. Well, my receivers really dropped off. I think I got a tube going bad or something, but hoping to limp it by. Anyway, this is my Demco satellite received. I love this three-piece radio. It's a big one. Back to you.
One of the transmitter receiver combinations. Looks like I've got an SWR problem. I'll take care of that in a moment. My video switcher is doing something strange here, so it may take me a while to actually find the right shot. I think that'll work. There is the three-piece radio, the transmitter, receiver, and then what they did with this style is they put the modulator, the Demco modulator, in with the speaker, which I think is pretty cool as a matching item. You could buy a Demco modulator as a standalone unit. I guess you could maybe use that as well, but this matches the whole thing. Transmitter is doing good. If you can hear me, I'll try and keep my transmissions short, Paul, but your transmitter is sounding good. Over.
Okay, well, as long as you can hear me, that's the main thing. Anyway, that's a three-piece, 23-channel AM CD radio. It has a crystal control transmitter. The receiver is 23-channel crystal control. Of course, it has a 23-channel VFO receiver. I'm going to have to go on that and see if I can find a problem in there, but that's what it is. It has a modulator with a built-in speaker, like you said, 17 tubes. Gigantic bunch of tubes in there. And it's got all kinds of goodies in the back. Quick control switch and everything. Back to you.
Sounding good. Next go around, I'm seeing a D104 up on this table with that, but not sure if you're using the D104 or not. I see that at oldtuberadio.com. Says we've got an operator's manual for that. It's got the variable 23-channel on the VFO on the receive, which is okay by the FCC, but of course crystal controlled. Looks like in 1966, when that radio came out, it was at the top of the price range, about $395, which I think with the top-of-the-line Brownings and the Trams were also up at about that price range. But you got a lot for that $395. Back to you.
Yeah, definitely the price was right. I'll tell you all that on this radio. It's a really a quality, nice radio. It's got more lights and everything on it, knobs on the things. It's fantastic. When it's looking popular and received, it's really good too. There's something, like I say, definitely wrong with it. But other than that, it's just, like you said, it's a non-amplified D-Well 4. That's all you need with this big radio. Back to you.
Doing a good job. This is like you're sitting in the cockpit of a 747. Definitely, it gives you a lot of lights and meters, and I just don't think you sit down and key this thing up. You really have to make sure that the receiver's where it's supposed to be, the transmitter where it's supposed to be, peak and tune, make sure you've got the modulator where it needs to be, and then as... Who was it? Jackie Gleason would say, away you go. Back to you for another transmission, and thanks for bringing probably what's going to be the biggest radio of the evening, getting us started off. Over.
Well, I get part of that. It's not your fault. It's my fault on this end here. Anyway, I'm going to check out a little bitty radio next time. That probably sound better to me than this big one. But we'll get it fixed eventually. Thanks for checking in, Dennis.
Hey, thanks for bringing it by. Radio number 1, the Demco satellite base station, 17 tubes. And Paul's up in North Fork, which is about 30 miles to the east and north of me, so doing a pretty good signal. Looks like number 7 is on the board and is trying to, I don't know, maybe make a few extra coins tonight, so that he can afford new tubes for the Browning. Although, from what I hear, I don't think it needs new tubes at all. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are listening for radio number 2. Also want to say hello to Captain Robert. Captain Keyboard is there tonight. Let's see, coming up. All right, sounds like you are on the mend, or perhaps trying to get some good thoughts your way, which we will do. Maybe we'll have some conditions out your way, and we'll be able to chat on the radio. Anyway, as SWL 84 says, and has been doing, proving to us, you take it one step at a time. And you go 2 steps up and maybe a step back, but you keep moving forward. So, Robert, good luck. And thanks for joining us here on Saturday evening for the Old Tube Radio Network. And the jingle singers they're feeling good. I would say they're feeling no pain, but it's a little bit early. It's a little bit early in the evening for that, but I noticed they have been certainly out at the OTR Christmas tree. And it looks like they all have some type of Christmas libation in their hand. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
And we are standing by for radio number 2.
45.
All right, Paul, you are the man of the hour here. Running around and connecting all the coax. I hear you, 45. Go ahead, over.
Okay, well, I'm going to a little bitty radio now. This is my general radio telephone VS4.
Well, I would say any radio is going to be a little bitty radio compared to, and we've still got a picture up here of the of satellite. So let's go to the VS4 General Radio Telephone. That was their version, I guess, of the mobile radio of the master control. Let's see if I've got a picture of the VS4. Yes, I do. What did we used to call that? I think Eric used to call that if the E.F. Johnson Whiteface was the loaf of bread, this was like the pumpkin bread radio. Back to you. Over.
Yeah, that's the little radio, the VS4. Yeah, I tell you what, it's a little powerhouse. Little bitty small one, but I tell you, they're tough. They made them real tough so they could withstand the places they're supposed to go into. They describe the things that go along any kind of trucks or anything like that. You can drop just about, they're just about over in there. It's not a big radio, but it does a good job for a little radio. Back to you.
It does. It's got great audio, and I'm sure they kept it simple just for that reason, thinking that you would buy the master control like an MC5 on the base, and that's your MC4 for your Unit 1 and Unit 2. I noticed this has the bullhorn. I don't know if they ever made a VS series that had the Q-Bird in it or not. I'll have to research that. It's got your 5 channels, the local distance switch. And then there's a light down on the bottom. I'm assuming that's just a pilot light for when it turns on, perhaps. I'm showing that these came out in the early 60s, like 1960 or 61. But I'm thinking they probably sold them at least through 64, 65 over.
Yeah, that's correct. 1964 was the manufacture date on this thing. And it's bi-crystal controlled. 7 tubes in this little thing. They're pretty tight. And it's like you say, it has a public address speaker on the thing. I don't think it never did have the noise control on this thing. They were all on the other radio. But the VS, they didn't have room to do a lot with the size of the thing. It's really small. It's slide switches on the thing. And well, I'll tell you what, that's just about it. It's got a regular, this stock General Radio Telephone VS4 crystal, not crystal. This would be a carbon microphone. Back to you.
Yeah, I think that would be the carbon. It's got good audio for the carbon microphone. I put the S meter up, so if you watch the playback, you'll see this is putting in almost an S9. So I bet this has every bit of a 4-watt DC output, and the audio is decent. I see a little bit of movement on the meter when you're talking there, so I think it's doing a good thing. It's General Radio Telephone VS4 from the early 1960s. It's a small radio. It is a small radio if you compare it to the satellite, but even for tube radios, this is about maybe 2/3 or half the size of your typical base station, but it works well for those 7 tubes. Back to you for a transmission, and thanks for bringing it by. We don't hear too many of the VS series from General Radio Telephone.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's General Radio Telephone, so it's one of my favorites. I like the General Radio Telephones. They're quite a radio, I'll tell you. When they made them to work. Thanks for checking in, Danny.
Right, thanks for bringing it by. It's what we do here on the Old Tube Radio Network. One, to hear the sound of the radios. A lot of you remember these if you were back around that time. For those of you who weren't, this is what it might have sounded like in 1964, new out of the box. And having a good time on a Saturday evening. Want to say hello to tuning in, beaconing across the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. GWD Labs is checking in. Also, Popcorn 913. I have a bag of, someone gave it to me. It's called Skinny Pop. It's one of those pre-popped popcorns in a bag. So I will probably enjoy that after the net when I run down into the green room and take a look at the giant tube radio Christmas tree. OTR standing by and looking for radio number 3.
Don't forget your Ovaltine.
And the Ovaltine, yeah. I had some grapefruit juice earlier squeezed off the tree. I don't know how well that'll work with Ovaltine, but if I give it a couple hours, it should be okay. And WS101 asking, has anyone ever heard of a shoebox amp made in Greenwood, Indiana? I will say that I have not, but I don't know everything. So that would be a good question for Harvey. He said he might come back in tonight. A shoebox amp from Greenwood, Indiana. And I guess if you can't talk, Skip, at least you can you can put on the shoes out of the shoebox and not run barefoot. OTR standing by. And at 9:28 Pacific time here, Mr. Hustler has found the microphonium of something that sounds quite nice. Hello, 60.
Thank you much, here, Dennis. I'd like to check in my Johnson Messenger on this old stock mic there. You saying something about that old shoebox amp? Boy, that almost reminds me of an Allied radio I first owned. It was a volume and a squelch, about half the size of a shoebox. I don't know if you ever seen the Allied radio. It wasn't a tuber. It was solid state, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, Dennis, I'd like to check in my Messenger.
All right, and we will check it in. Well, I think the radio we just had, the VS4, would also perhaps qualify as a shoebox as well. This is a little bit, this is the fancier pair of shoes that you've got going on here from the E.F. Johnson, the Messenger 223, which was indeed their top-of-the-line base station for, well, 1969. So for the beginning of the big, just before everybody says the CB craze hit, this was a radio that a lot of people, I remember, because I got my license in 1970, and I remember talking to a lot of people that had the Messenger 223, and they always sounded good. In fact, they sounded just like yours sounds here in 2020. Over.
Well, you know, hey, I wish I would have been around that day to hear one at that time. I was mostly into solid state, and this is, and the other one I have are the very only radios I've ever talked to, are tube type. And doggone it, yeah, I would have liked this one back in the day. In fact, if it was mobile, I would have ran this one mobile.
Well, to do that, what you would have done was get a Messenger 2, which was their mobile version. Now, of course, it didn't have the 23 channels and it didn't have the S meter, but it was all ready to go. It had all the hookups. To do this radio mobile, you would probably have to have some type of a DC to AC power inverter, because I don't think this the 223 ever had a way to go more than 115 volt AC. So the dealer would have pointed you to the shelf next to it with the Messenger 2, and it would basically it would be the same radio inside. It would sound just the same, probably on transmit and receive. You'd just be missing a couple of channels. When this came out, the price was around $200, maybe a little bit more, especially if you added the Johnson Desk microphonium, which we're showing in the shot here. Over.
Yeah, we have it here sitting, doggone it, and we're still working on that. We haven't gotten lucky yet to find the original element. That's my next baby to work on, and get that original element in there, so I don't lose anything. The radio sounds like it has audio output, and this microphone here, for being a stock mic, seems to be doing a job for it. But I would like to put the desk mic on it. It really looks nice when it's sitting next to it.
Yes, it does. They made it that way, and they even put their own little Johnson logo on there. I have put the shot on with the S meter. I'll let you take another transmission, so be able to get the radio and the S meter. I think you're well over S9. Well, let's see. Take another transmission.
Hey, okay. Well, doggone it, one thing we do like is the way she lights up. You don't need any help from lamps or anything like that while you're operating it. It lights up real pretty in the front there, and got a nice big black speaker, a little 4x4. Not real fancy in the front there. It has a squelch, which is actually your volume to turn, your on and off switch, but then you got to go to your volume to take it from there.
Yeah, like I said, they kept it simple. They kept the Messenger 2 and dolled it up, if you will, for a base station. It still looks classic. That still is a classic look for a CB radio. If you were gonna do a movie about CB radio, this would be a good one to have on the shelf. Johnson Messenger from E.F. Johnson, 223, and of course they were no spring chickens to radios. They were producing very heavy-duty transmitters. The Viking 500, the Thunderbolt for amateur radio. They weren't doing receivers as far as I knew. They were just doing transmitters. And then when they got into Class D, they paired a receiver with their great knowledge of transmitters, and that was the result. Our radio number 3 this evening, the Messenger 223, always sounding good on the old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you much, Dennis, for letting me bring it by. Yeah, okay, we'll let it go. Go to the next one.
Okay, I'm going to take a transmission. I'm looking to check my SWR here. It looks like it's trying to be okay. The old Tube Radio Network, and we are looking for Radio 4. Bottoming the hour. Okay, Jingle Singers say it is. What are you guys doing over there? Okay, you know what? Like I said earlier, I saw the. It's sort of a. Well, they probably don't like me saying this. It's sort of a dingy-looking U-Haul that they kind of doll up, and I think Espresso Trucking Company is here, going to somewhere, and I see them down there. So they may have something for us, and they did move the U-Haul illegally parked out in the parking lot. Let's go to the Jingle Singers here on the old Tube Radio Network, doing what they do best. And I'm not sure what that is, but they know what it is. Standing by.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
And it is wonderful, especially if you're walking down Christmas Tree Lane. It is usually open through Christmas Day and maybe a day or two after. If you're looking for something like that to do. Otherwise, it's just a nice place to be sometimes. Sometimes. OTR, we're standing by. And hello, Paul, can you hear me? Over.
Heard you just fine. Sounding good. I'd like to check in my Polytron N-12.
Okay, so we're looking for Polytronics, and we're looking for Polycom, and there are, when I go to the Rolodex here, there is actually quite a few items. What is the number on the Polycom? Over?
N-12.
All right, let me see what I've got. I've got an N, and I've got an N8. I'm going to bring up the N8. That may not be the exact item. Let me get to the. Like I said, my video switcher isn't working. Let me get to the video meter here, and we'll see how close I am. But it is a Polycom. Over.
That's my radio. Pretty little thing. Got 12 tubes in the thing, and, well, it's 12 tube performance what it does. So, we got a way of sneaking around it. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 crystals in the thing, I believe. So, yeah, it's 8 channel, 11 tube crystal to radio. With a great 6-meal forward investor in it, which really helps all our selling thing. I think it's the first radio to have that tube in it thing.
Yeah, the manufacturers started realizing that making the receiver, especially with skip conditions, making the receiver a little bit more sensitive and selective, and as more stations got on your adjacent channels, if you could get something with a good receiver, you would have a little bit better communications, have a little bit more fun. So the new Vista was a good way to get some gain out of things. And then what was the other thing they had? Was the Collins mechanical filter was also another good item. But I believe that is why this is the Polycom N for a new Vista. Full 8 channels. Looks like you've even got a spot right under the speaker where you could either put a label or write in your call sign and unit number so you would not forget. And the FCC would not be mad at you. That is similar to the Polycom N, which I think had 4 channels, and this is the 8, like you said, that has 8 channels. Doing a good job. Take a transmission. I'll pop up the S meter so we can see how this one works on the signal down here. Over.
Yeah, the bonus is the Vista tubes in this thing, but it's also got this ceramic microphone. That's a very, very heavy microphone. For a club, for a lethal ball, it's a mean-looking microphone. Pretty good. Anyway, I've got a carry handle and the top, and you can see it. Very hard to see. Swivels on each side about halfway down. That opens up where you can carry it around. It doesn't look that strong, but it does a good job of picking the thing up and carry it around. Well, it's just a neat radio. The one, number 4 was the first one to come out with 4 channels. They boost up through 12, I think this is 7, 8 channels, and then they go up to a higher channel. I got one of those too. They only done is use more or less the same truss, same everything, it's just put more crystals in it. Which is a good idea, because it was a solid little radio. Still is, I like it. Thanks, John.
Good. I checked the power output, and you're right in with your other radios. Same S meter reading as the VS4. And did you say that is the microphone that came with the radio, the stock microphone? Over.
That's correct. Go with this radio. This is the stock one.
All right. I'm thinking that might be another. I don't know if it's crystal or ceramic. I'm going to say the element in that probably isn't as fresh as it was back in 1963, because the audio doesn't quite have that crispness or that sharpness that you've had on the other 2 radios. So that would be a good candidate for something like just a stock D104, although it may have kind of a non-standard mic connector. Almost looks like the 2-pin Browning connector on that thing. But that would be a radio to try a different mic on for sure.
1963 was the time of this thing. It wasn't in any of the slaps. So I found this in the Pumper Electronics in 1963. So that's got to be about the time when it was put out. So I don't know, the slap didn't pick these up for some reason. I don't know why, but the Super Radio. Back to you.
All right, I was looking on the Rolodex here. I don't see a Sam's number for it. I'll have to check out the other ones, like the N. Maybe they carried one of them, and this was similar, and it just didn't make it in. But doing a good job, good signal, and like I said, that would sound definitely interesting. I think with a different microphone, it might pick up the clarity. But you got plenty of audio. The radio is definitely putting out enough audio gain for sure. Radio number 4, the Polytronics Polycom N. Their new Vista versions, and this is the 8 channels. They're the one that runs 8 channels, all crystal controlled. Transmit and receive, and of course it always has channel 11. That's a great thing for the old Tube Radio Network.
That's actually to see it on the archives. It's always heard the old ladies you're talking with. You got to figure out what's wrong with them, and hopefully you can fix them if you're lucky. That's just what you're doing,
37.
And thanks for bringing it by. The radio for tonight, the Polytronics Polycom N8. And now there's some audio. I hear 37. Don't go away, Chris. You are next. Jump up in the air chair at 9. I move my clock. I keep looking up there, and it's down there at 9:41. And take, as we say on the old Tube Radio Network, take a transmission. Over.
Okay, here's first gear. All right. Hi, Dennis. I would like to check in my general radio telephone.
my Super MC11A. This is the 24-channel version ball out there, and we are running this here with the non-amplified stock microphone. Over.
Yeah, no, as always, no need to change a thing, or to dial up, or dial down, or to get up or get down. You are sounding good. Over.
And I thank you very much. I'm going to come back with another one here in a minute.
Okay, I will log that in as radio number 5. Thanks.
A question on that one, Dennis?
All right, we'll see if we can get the question answered. Over.
Yeah, on that general, well, I should be asking Chris, how many channels is that?
24.
Oh, boy. Okay, that answered it.
Kind of a...
It says on the front. Over.
Yeah, kind of a bonus.
Yeah, Chris, that thing sounds good. I thought it... I think I saw it one time while I was at your house there. A good-looking little radio, but it looked older. I thought maybe it was 4 or 5 channels, you know, something like that. 24 channels, that's okay.
Yeah, and it works. I don't know about that 24th one, but, you know, I think I did try one. I don't know if it does or not, to be honest with you. It may not. I don't know, but it's look at that signal engine, whatever it is in there.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. Maybe Dennis can explain for you. I can understand 23, but 24? Where the Martians are.
Yeah, where the Martians are on the Civil Air Patrol. So if you have somebody that has the capability of going below channel 1, I believe it is 26 something. Somebody said on the 455 swap, so if you have a channel 13 crystal that is whatever channel 13 is, 27, I don't know, 105, something like that, and you have the receive crystal swap, it is 26 something, so it's minus 455, and that actually I think is the transmit frequency for Civil Air Patrol, which is the 24th channel, as Breaker Broke 23 says, the Civil Air Patrol, the CAP channel. I think you're on your other radio, Chris, so before you do that, I noticed I forgot, and I want to do it now so we get equal time to have the pen that will go into the OTR pocket protector brought to us tonight by your Zenith dealer sales and service. Compliments of Kay and Adolph at Radio Supply Company at 209 South Main, Livingston, Montana, 59047. There it is. For those, it's a yellow pen. It's big. It's sort of triangular. Thanks, Kay and Adolph. It's a yellow and black, very large triangular-shaped pen. I guess that was pretty modern for back in the 1960s. And there it goes into the OTR pocket protector. Look how big that is. It's like twice as large as the other thing. So I'm now even more nerdy than I was before. OTR standing by.
Okay, can I check this one in now? Over.
You may proceed with your radio item. Over.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I just cleaned this thing up, and it's actually working, believe it or not. This is, I was over on the table over here cleaning it right now. But I'm checking in my Chris 23 Plus CB transceiver, which is the 23-channel radio with the original handheld stock microphone. And when I was in there cleaning this puppy, Dennis, I did not know that there, but I have 2 6BQ5s.
2 6BQ5s. It may do the push-pull thing with the dual 6BQ5 audio, which was, I think, sort of a standard, you want to sound loud, and that is the Panasonic chassis that makes all, like, the Robins and some of the other 6 or 7 radios that use that chassis sound loud. In fact, I'm looking at the item here. I see a 6BQ5. Yeah, the V6 is the audio modulator, mic preamp audio output modulator 6BQ5. And then you have the V10, the RF power amp 6BQ5, along with a 12AX7. Oh, you know what? The 12AX7 is the first audio mixer, and then the 6BQ5 is the audio output modulator. So there you go. You can't go wrong when you get those 3 tubes in there. Over.
Oh, okay, well, yeah. And I've even got a JB12 modulator out there with a 6BQ5. One of these days, I'm going to hook it up.
Then you will be, what did we say on CB radio? Wall-to-wall and treetop tall. Although you are already, when you bring out any of your tube radios, you're doing a good job. I have a feeling that the JB would probably just muck them up.
You're probably right. I wouldn't know what would happen. It'd probably be a big mistake, be my luck. Over.
Yeah, well, as they say, this is the big mistake frequency. The Chris 23 Plus says it's AM plate modulation, the Panasonic chassis, the synthesized crystals. It's 11 tubes, which I need to mark down on my chart here. And it says if you go to oldtuberadio.com, you will find an operator's manual for said radio.
Okay.
So there it is. Thanks for, let me go back to the radio and the S meter. So thanks for bringing that one by. That's radio number 6.
Speaking of big mistakes, number 7.
All right, Dennis, thank you. I'm going to be out and listening here now. Have a great one. I will be listening for all the other wonderful, outrageously awesome radios out there. Over.
And since this is the Old Tube Radio Network, there will be plenty. I want to check in SWL 78. Richard has showed up on my chart here, so I will find you on page something. Yeah, right there. And he says, I was sitting here trying to remember what I was forgetting to do. And then he says, duh, and here he is on the Old Tube Radio Network. He says they never had an elf on the shelf, but they had a belt on the shelf. Don't even want to know about that. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Richard, for checking in 78. And if I get my mouse to behave here, also, I want to go over to SWL 7. Speaking of the big mistake frequency, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of big mistakes, yes, checking in, not with a tube radio quite yet, but I'm warming one up so I can get on and put a green radio on the air. But I won at poker, so I'm doing good.
All right. Well, I saw sort of your precursor message thinking that you may have come home with a little bit extra money in your pockets to buy some 6BQ5s.
At least one or two.
Exactly. All right. Well, the next, let's see, we're looking for radio 7. And Dwayne says the JB12 is the best secret weapon CB operators can have. Yeah, I remember when those came out, and you've got that. A lot of the stations would try to do the control carrier thing to get that forward modulation. Then I found out that a lot of them were just using the JB12, what is it, clamp tube type of stuff. All right, well, we got you checked in officially. I'm glad to hear that things were going well. It's 9:50. The Jingle Singers. Is it Jingle Singers? What are we doing over there? Oh, they are setting. All right, I see some musical instruments. So it's even more festive. We're in trouble now. I see the Espresso Trucking Company. Can they see me? No, they can't see me. Is setting up. Are they ready? No, they're not ready. All right. Well, the Jingle Singers are. So we'll do what we know we can do best. The magic that is your Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
And plenty of time for your Old Tube Radio magic. If you've got a glow-in-the-dark radio, this is a place to bring it. The Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio's glowing in the dark for a long, long time. We've been doing this about 35 years. Lots of net controllers. My name's Dennis, one of the many here sitting in the air chair. And of course, I don't know if we've come up to our millionth tube or not. I'm trying to count the tubes tonight, and I have, rumor has it, then when the millionth tube checks in, there will be a bevy of balloons and confetti and and a marching band to come through the control room here, but I'm not sure about that. So me thinks that we probably have not come even close at all to getting our millionth tube. OTR standing by at least to get a couple more.
Are these tubes working? SWL number 7.
If you are on the tube radio, they appear to be working. Over.
Well, I guess they are working in that case. The Tram TR27E.
All right, going through the Rolodex up to the T's and the Trams and through the 27s. There were actually quite a few 27 series, the E being the final one, I think, before they went up to the Tram Titan. There is a very green photo on my screen, so we will go to the full screen while you go to your full screen on the microphonium. Over.
Oh, yeah, it's big, it's green. It has a 5x7 speaker, a S-meter that is 3 by 3.5 inches tall. Nothing small about the radio. Volume, a noise limiter, squelch, of course, a little modulation light in there lets you know when you get in your voice peaks, and this one has the Electro Voice 638 microphone attached.
And a nice impedance match microphone for your tube radios. The Collins operators like them, and it does a good job on the Tram TR27E. It gives it good communication quality audio. It doesn't have the amplified sound. Yes, you could drive way more, and it probably wouldn't look so good on the REA meter. But I think you are true to form with that microphone, especially with that radio. Over.
Thank you. Well, at least I got to check in one radio. Oops, I don't think I'll have enough time to warm up another one.
Okay, well, let's see. Oh, and Dwayne says Chrissy's had one of those big days and has actually already fallen off to sleep. So she will have to enjoy the greenness on the replay. But at least it's there to be seen. Thanks for bringing by radio number 7.
Oh, well, shoot. Chrissy didn't get the chance to see the green radio, but it's still there. With that, hopefully we'll be warming up one more, and we'll try to get the Browning on there before you sign off.
All right. Yeah, we got plenty of room on the radio chart for sure. Thanks for the Tram. And I am looking over. Okay, it looks like I think we're set up. I don't know. Whenever they try to do this, I'm always afraid that we don't have all the wires and cables set up. I think you guys come in when they do the audio. They come in over on this ported microphone. And what is it they're holding up? It says Christmas tune for you. All right. So this is something new. Christmas tune for me, for us, for the Old Tube Radio Network. Espresso Trucking Company. Whenever I see the U-Haul van, I know that we are in for, what is it? We are in for something. So I'll just kick it over to the other studio, and we'll see what happens. So I'm shutting my microphone. Yeah, when you guys can go, I think you can go anytime, or at least try to go anytime. With some holiday cheer. I don't even know what the title of this song is, or this tune is. Maybe it will be self-explanatory. Your Espresso Trucking Company world premiere on the Old Tube Radio Network.
It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Everywhere I go, take a look at the meter bend, rocking it once again. At 30 over 9 now, don't you know? It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Skip around the dial, But the prettiest sight to see will be a linear for me on my own front porch. Pair of match final tubes and a noise of the tubes is the wish of Barney and Ben. Mics that will ring in a rig that will ping is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for sunspots once again. It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Everywhere I tune, there's a glow in my radio, on standby for the big show, with stacked PDLs pointed at the moon. It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Soon the fun will start. Christmas greetings will fill your shack. I'll be beaming from my stack right within your heart.
I'm feeling the holiday spirit already. I think I'll put up a Christmas tree next week.
A pair of match final tubes and a noise of toots is the wish of Barney and Ben. Mics that will ring and a rig that will ping is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for sunspots once again. It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Soon the fun will start. Christmas greetings will fill your shack. I'll be beaming from my stack right within your
Hello, radio. Hello, 17, over.
Hello, I wasn't paying attention to the time. I don't know. Can I sneak one more old tube radio in?
We are ready to take... Wait a minute, I've lost my audio here. Hold on. We are ready to take your radio check-in, over.
All right, well, I haven't had this thing on in a long time. This is from the, ECI Courier, the Royale, and I'm using the Courier BCM-4 solid state preamp microphone. Anyway, I know the element's kind of crappy. It's old, as old as I am, if not older. Anyway, it didn't want to fire up today. It took a minute or two and a couple of little persuasive little taps here and there, and all of a sudden it came to life, and here she is right now.
It's doing okay. This is the persuasive tap frequency. And I'm trying to get my my video switch to work here so that we can actually put a shot of it on the screen. All right, the Courier Royale. You are about an S8, so you're not quite full quieting, but what's actually helping things out on that is the audio. So I would not blame the audio. I think the audio is what's helping things out here on the Courier Royale, made famous not only for their audio, but for the fact that I think it has we talked about this earlier, it has a Collins mechanical filter somewhere in the receive portion of that. And it's working well. It's repeat performance, and it has been a long time. Its repeat performance is doing well here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over.
Thank you, Dennis, and thanks for doing the net. And with that, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Yes, indeed, and adding another dozen or so tubes to our list tonight, the Collins mechanical filter inside of the Courier Royale that is, it does have 11 tubes. That will run 12-volt DC as well. It's available in CB14 if you're looking for some information. It is a favorite when people talk about the radios they would like to have. You know, once they get through the Browning and the Tram thing, the Courier Royale, along with the Regency Imperial, often come up. And there is no reason why it should not, because that radio stands up to all of those. Thanks for bringing it by. And that is Radio 8 at 9:59 is what we're calling. Courtesy of Carolina Kid, Mr. Eric.
Now that my toes have thawed out, how about one from the Radio Lounge?
Yeah, let's do that. It is, you know what? When it gets damp and cold and things like that, it just feels good to not to be outside, I think.
Truly. You know, though, I got to say, though, and I think I made a comment about this earlier, it was really nice out there. Yeah, it was cold. Not that bad, but a little bit on the cold side. And yes, my toes are genuinely like thawing out right now. But no, it was beautiful out there. Oh my God, with the rain that had fallen all over the cedar trees, it's a smell that just can't be replicated. Which maybe is a good segue into this radio I'm on right now, a Robin T123. That I've always enjoyed the smell of this guy, even though I think it got peed on at one point in time by a previous owner's cat. This thing definitely smells just awesome. Again, the hot smell of vacuum tubes and dust, just delectable.
Gotta love it. Yeah, I've got a few tubes going on here. I'm losing my video light. Well, it figures. I knew this wouldn't last for 2 hours. Also, I'm looking in the Rolodex file for the Robin, which I know I have, and that is also failing me. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. We'll go back to you. At least your radio. You basically have the only thing that's working right now.
Usually it's the other way around, so that's good. This is an extra good Saturday evening. Well, like I said, this is the 123, Robin T123. Obviously in the 110 mode right now. I almost took it out tonight on the road, but I thought I'd let other folks have some more airtime. I didn't want to hog up anymore, but... great radio for the lounge, and of course on the road too, and it might be going mobile at some point in time, but it's in the lounge right now. Great Magic Eye, goodness sakes, 6RE13, I think it is, which is definitely winking and blinking. I didn't, I guess if you had to be super nitpicky about Christmas Tree Lane, I didn't see any vacuum tube decorations or Nixie tube decorations. I suppose you could have worked that in there somehow. But yeah, well, there's no cedar trees in here, but there's still lots of sparkly lights. At least one from a Magic Eye tube.
Yeah, we got the picture of the Magic Eye tube, and yeah, with like you said, with the rain on the trees, and it was probably, we haven't had rain, what, in a month, 2 months, so probably would have been a little dusty and dry without the rain. And no doubt you've probably heard, maybe not the version of It's Beginning to Look like Christmas that we just heard from Espresso Trucking Company, but you probably heard the real one. Or maybe not. Maybe that's what you need as a cassette. You need a cassette player, or no, of one of those reel-to-reel 3-inch reel-to-reel tape players, your old tube radio, and it's beginning to look a lot like DX as you march down the lane. Back to you.
I do have a reel-to-reel. It's not a 3-inch, but I do have one of those. I think you have I know we're getting away from the radio. Don't you have a reel-to-reel that actually does have a Magic Eye in there?
I had one. I don't know where it is, but it was, and I don't remember the maker of it, but that's what I grew up with. With my first recordings were on a think it was a 5-inch. It might have even been a 7-inch, but it had the magic iTube that you would use it for your audio, your VU meter on the audio. And that was my first sort of step into magic iTubes. Although this, was it 6RE13, where you're looking at the side of the tube, I never seen one that did this, like the Robin does, that particular display, until, of course, I saw the radios. And I realized, there are a lot of different ways to make your tube show modulation or signal strength or whatever it's supposed to do.
Many, many, many years ago, when I first started exploring magic iTubes, I found some website on the net that had, it was just amazing, all the different kinds. You've got the 6RE13 kind of vertical tube that I'm dealing with right now. Then my Gonzit radios have the 6ME5, I think, which of course is the Pac-Man style tube. But man, let me tell you, they're way more than just these two styles that I have. It's incredible. Someone, I can't remember if it was just a random FM tuner that I happened to accidentally come upon on eBay, or maybe someone mentioned it online, or maybe here. But it was just an amazing vacuum tube. The tube, it was kind of like a vertical one, and it actually looked like an exclamation mark. It was just amazing. I'll go back and see if I can figure out which one I'm talking about. But anyways, there's a wide world of different styles of tubes out there. So I'd highly recommend one. This one is pretty active right now because I've got my the amplified D104, which I haven't mentioned in a long time. It's a custom D104. On the back of the head, SWL20 was kind enough to provide me with the back plate for the microphone. It's got a very, very, very fancy, kind of like a calligraphy. There you go. Style M on it, which kind of looks suspiciously like an upside down W. But we won't comment on that. But anyways, when I added the amplified mic, it obviously just made this Magic iTube way more active.
Well, it's telling you true. It doesn't sound like it's flat topping or overmodulated, so you're keeping an eye on the eye, which helps keep your audio well. You are radio. Oh, I haven't marked you in yet. You are Radio 9 on the Robin T123B. No, 123. It's not like the B at all. It's totally different. The B was one of the Panasonic chassis. Let me see what info I have on this. Do I have anything? Sam's Photofax 35, page 95. And yeah, it's a good thing to come home to after being out in the cold air.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you're looking at Sam's Photofax, does it say anything about the power consumption on there?
I am not looking at the item per se. I'm looking at the fact that it would be, or it is, were I to have one, I would be looking at Sam's, at book 35 on page 95. And it may or may, that's the other answer to your question, is it actually may or may not say that.
Okay. Yeah, I've got that Sam somewhere floating around there. I always love taking this thing on the road, and boy, that'd be really fun to do. I know Larry has kind of threatened to do some sort of a bicycle tube check-in. I think that'd be just awesome. I had to try that too if I could get a good car battery bungee corded to the back of a bicycle. We'll see. Maybe that's something to do this Christmas vacation.
Well, you'd think it would be easy, but it's not. There aren't many in our many years of doing this. There really aren't that many. Although we have had a good many tube radio check-ins, but there are not that many operators that are able to do that. You are one of them. Eric, who checked in moments ago, is one of them. Cliff has checked in a few. So between the three of you and maybe a few others that have kept us sort of in the loop, that yes, when it says it's 12 volt DC or 6 volt DC, that the radios actually do wire up and can still do that if you are wanting to take the time. So I did a couple of transmissions long ago with my Regency Imperial double sideband. I don't even know where it is, but I may still have the mobile cord for that. So it's kind of fun, especially if you don't have anybody sitting in the seat next to you.
Oh, that's a great comment, because I think with very few exceptions, that's winds up being my passenger is a huge tube radio. They're not little single din stereo units. They take up a little more real estate. Especially in today's cramped cars where you don't have a small love seat as your front seat in your car.
Yeah, you got to have that metal dash to put the metal radio on. And there is a comment. This is the old tube radio. The comment, go ahead, over. And you probably didn't hear that, Mike, but and it is a true statement. It says, with that mobile operation, to do any mobile operation on your old tube radio radio on the old tube radio network, you do need the assistance of a good vibrator.
That's what she said.
And you can hear it. I remember when I would turn on the Regency, you flip the switch, and it's warming up, and you think, okay, there is something wrong here, because you're it sort of goes away, but yes, indeed.
Number 7, I think it's working.
Yeah. And the vibrator was a component of my gadget, my secret gadget that I had for years. It's a rather fascinating component a vibrator is. I even understand that on the lining of the vibrator itself, I hear that some of them were actually lined with rubber, so that the sound of whatever is actually vibrating on the inside would not be quite so loud. Interesting facts there. As I'm sure this other gentleman that piped in is probably well aware of.
Dare I say, this is the interesting facts frequency. Radio 9 online, the Robin T123. Let me go back to the Radio S meter so you can get we can get all those on at the same time. And then we do have someone in the green room wandering up to the air chair, and I will put Mr. Ed number 7 as Radio 10 coming up. But back to you, 47 for another check-in on the Robin. Thanks for the radio. Also, thanks for your efforts. And it has become a tradition here at the Gold Tube Radio Network. The Christmas Tree Lane live broadcast. We had a lot of the SWLs comment that it wouldn't seem like the Old Tube Radio Network in December without that. So thanks once again. Over.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, always my pleasure. And all joking aside, the vibrators that are in radios, it's kind of interesting. If you read about them, I'm serious. Obviously, the modern radios don't use them, but kind of cool reading if you have spare time in your hands. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for letting me check this particular radio in, and it was a pleasure to do the Christmas Tree Lane thing. And who knows, there might be a mobile check-in from a drive night in Christmas Tree Lane coming up sometime soon. Who knows? Only the shadow knows.
At a radio near you. I'm just reading Dwayne's comment. Comment. All right. Thank you. Who am I talking to? Thank you, 47. And heading over to Radio 10, which is Mr. Ed. Over.
Sorry about interjecting in there, maybe a little too early. I heard something about rubbers and vibrators and didn't want to be doing something too early. But anyway, the Browning Mark III SSB.
And I do have a picture. I do have something for that, although it says it's not available. Somehow this server does not like the Browning radios. They used to show up easy, and now it's like it's pulling teeth trying to get these radios to come up. So I don't know what happened to the website here, but go ahead and take a transmission.
Oh, gotta get a little harder before you get the Browning in there, I guess. Anyway, yes, this one has the Golden Eagle D104 bicentennial issue, a golden-plated D104 attached also.
All right, good deal, and that adds a whole bevy of tubes to our tube count with the transmitter-receiver combination. The Mark III SSB, there was a Mark III AM combination where the transmitter was about two-thirds that size, perhaps, and only did AM. It was about $200 cheaper. So if you wanted a Browning and didn't have that extra $200, you could get the AM version. I think they're actually rare. It seems like most of the versions that we hear are the SSB, as is yours. Back to you.
Thank you very much for letting me check in the big old two-piece valve radio here, and we'll get back on the software-defined radio to listen in.
All right, to check out the signals. That's in the future, having an SDR link that we can put up so you can see when you key up your tube radio, you can watch the little AM carrier all of a sudden sort of move off as your radio warms up. Pretty cool. Thanks for that. And counting and amounting here, jingle singers, and there is room. There is certainly room for some more radio check-ins tonight before we totally sign off.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
Fancy modern.
Had to put them back on the right microphone. OTR standing by.
Break, OTR.
The break, OTR, go ahead, over.
Well, thank you, Dennis. SWL 17. The jingle singers just said make it modern. So, with that, this isn't a tube radio. This is from Radio Shack, a CRC 212 3-channel 3-watt Citizens Band handheld transceiver. Actually, I think I was watching the original, Transformers movie, and they're using this as a prop, although they don't have the antenna extended. I do have the external antenna connector into the Antron, and I'm surprised you heard me earlier because I was in the low power, there's a power switch out there. I'm at high power, and according to, it's putting out 3 watts.
Yeah, I heard you, although, and I didn't say so. If you watch the video, you will see me do that thing that I do where I put my hand to my headphonium as I am trying to politely pull the station out of the mud. But you did quite well. You and the Radio Shack low-power walkie-talkie did quite well. It is a good night for portable radios. I may have a few here myself. I may have a few of the, I don't know if I've got a 2-watt or a 5-watt or whatever, but it's amazing. The audio quality is quite nice on those. And yes, if you put it on an antenna, external antenna, it works well too. It might even have a microphone jack, and then it's basically you wouldn't know, right? But it is functioning. So as we go modern and portable and 12 volts DC, if it's provided by your car battery or those lines of alkaline batteries, 8 alkaline batteries in the case, it's working well.
Contact.
And this is the contact frequency. Go ahead, over.
Hey, Dennis. How you doing, man? 70 late check-in, please.
Not a problem. You're sounding good here on AM, and I will be putting the check-in for 70 over.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
As do we here at the Old Tube Radio Network. Any other radio check-ins or SWL check-ins as we counting them out on the Old Tube Radio Network?
I will make it quick there, Dennis. 60.
Hello, radio.
Thank you much. We'd like to check in our Robin T123B. Doggone it, I know the tubes are nice and warm now, and we've been sitting by listening to it, appreciating it as we listen to it. And a question on this base and mobile. I imagine this one here it says on the bottom there that it is also mobile. Is there a special plug for this?
I would say yes. I would have to just double check with someone who actually has that radio with the cord. I know with my Regency Imperial, there was it used the same plug in the back. It was a Jones plug, so it's a multi-plugs, and you plug one in and it's got a regular, what you would see as an AC power cord, and then you pull that out and you had another cord that goes into the same spot on the back of the radio, but out of it is a fused line, and then just two wires for your positive and your negative, and of course it knows out of all the little 8 or 9 or 10 connections there, it knows where to go to do the DC thing and get through the there's that word again, the vibrator.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll do a little research on that. It would be kind of interesting one day to hook this up mobile-wise. This should be fun. Doggone it. Now, this is a modified version on as far as the channels go. This one does go up to 35. And doggone it, that's all we had besides it being 11 tubes. And I think the lighting and on some of the front here could be changed over maybe to a brighter LED. It's a pretty radio. Just could use a little bit more light, like the modulation light, for instance. Something more, and the meter is so pretty, but a little bit on the dark side. But other than that, it works fine.
Yeah, I don't know how easy it is to replace the bulbs in there if they go, with age they go dim, or if they're looking for 12 volts and you put in, they won't last as long, but you put in something that runs on a little lower voltage so it would be brighter, but I don't think that's the preferred thing. Or like you said, it's do something with LEDs, which seems to be the thing, although I don't know. I'd have to do a search and see if anybody's modified. A lot of people have modified their radios for LED lights, but I haven't seen or heard too many people doing it on the older rigs. Or I guess with the mod light, you just talk louder, right? But you got plenty of audio, so don't talk any louder. You're just fine.
Okay. Yeah. No, it was an idea. And I'm also thinking about what you said there. Yeah, for sure. A guy would have to know whether this is 6-volt lighting or 12-volt lighting, and we don't want to put it, if it's 6, put a 12 in there and turn it as soon as I key the mic up. Okay. Well, anyway, doggone it. We'll get on the side here, and this is 11 tube Robin T123B.
Comment?
All right, I've added the 11 tubes to the mode here. Boy, this is really hard when the video switcher isn't working. And you are radio number 11, and you've also added to the Robins tonight, and there is a comment. The comment, go ahead.
So if I understood that situation correctly,
If that was a 123B as in Bravo, that can be operated on the road. You definitely do not, let me say that again, you do not want to try and jury rig the 110 AC power cord. You don't want to be, trying to use that power cord in the mobile mode. The AC and DC power cords are wired differently, and you're gonna accumulate a pretty good repair bill if you try and monkey around with that. Be careful.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I know there are a number of pins back in there, and probably DC pins are away from the AC pins. I'm gonna investigate the cord that goes to it for the mobile, but I sure do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. And take it from someone who learns often more by his mistakes than his successes on that. And I think we'll leave it there.
Okay, yeah, polarization is a thing that has to definitely be correct on that. And you got to get fused things. Obviously, if you look at schematic, you can say, okay, this is what's supposed to connect there, but you got to be absolutely sure. And I think Dwayne, who also knows a little bit about the internal workings of these things, chimes in as well, saying you definitely want to be careful. And of course, since this radio is over 40 plus years old, it may be a little tough to find the proper connector, but they probably do exist. Thanks for Radio 11.
And I don't know if we can officially do that, but how about a double scoop on that? Why don't we add another 123B just for kicks there?
We certainly can. I looked over at oldtuberadio.net and I noticed that the 6L6 was glowing, meaning that the Old Tube Radio Network is still on the air. So let's indeed, while I have the Robin T123B up in the preview mode, we'll add another one for Radio 12 at 10:29, and it's sounding good. This one's always much mellower than your 123, but it always sounds good. It's got good fidelity.
Yeah, and I always paint myself into this corner because it's not the first radio I always reach for. However, whenever I'm tempted to try and add another one to the list before the shop gets closed, this one's pretty convenient because it's got the instant on feature. So as long as I have power going to any one of my radios, I have power going to this one. So it's pretty easy to decide last minute if you want to check this one in or not because of that instant on feature. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword. One, you got you have the benefit of just as long as you have it plugged in. And the strip turned on, you can use it at a moment's notice. But because of that, it often, at least in the radio lounge, gets checked in pretty late. And it's usually in the late hours that I don't feel like screaming into a radio, and as things are kind of quieting down around the lounge here. But fun radio, and the comments that the previous gentleman made were absolutely true. The lights on the front of this radio are great. They are not, however, going to win a candle power contest.
You just have to make sure the room is very dark.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Sure. And yeah, one of these days, I don't know, maybe I'll put it on my Christmas list. One of these days I'll try and stick an amplified D104 on the Christmas list, but yeah, we'll see.
Assuming you've been good. Oh, yeah, wishful thinking there. All right, counting and amounting the Old Tube Radio Network listener.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
The totals, okay, that's... I can tell the jingle singers want to get out of here. I wasn't even ready for that, and they stepped up to the microphone and said, no, we're getting out of here. I think what it is they want to close down the air, and there is just so many good things happening over in the green room tonight. I think they're singing the extended version of Christmas carols a la Espresso Trucking Company, so who knows what they've possibly done to Jingle Bells. The old tube radio network here. Let me punch up the right screens, and I dialed some controls, so I hope... Let me look at the audio. I hope my audio... Yeah, I guess it's there. Back on the transmitter. I've got two audio streams, and I have to kind of see which one is happening correctly. Tonight, great stuff. Not only did we have another exclusive song, only heard on the Old Tube Radio Network, we had our annual jaunt down Christmas Tree Lane, the infamous historic Christmas Tree Lane. So thanks for all the festive activities, and maybe next week I will have whatever space I have in the back. I can do some decorating. 69 SWLs tonight, not bad. 14 on page 120 on page 2, 16 on page 3, and 19 on page 4. This is the last week of the 8-week roster, so we'll be choosing a new 00 from those with perfect attendance. Much thanks to 47, who did a very good job of starting off the program here each week. So Mike, thanks for that. I don't know what that was. It might have been some crossband radio coming in there. Also, I want to say, radios. We had 12 radios tonight, and the most heard manufacturer was the Robins tonight with 3. Starting off with the Demco satellite base station. You just never know. The radio that starts off sometimes is the most heard radio. That would have been cool to have all the Demcos jump in tonight. Did I give you a total tube count? 141 tubes. We had some very big radios here that added to our tube count of the 12 radios tonight. Then Demco was 17 of them there. Thanks, Paul. Always good to hear the Demco coming in. Radio number 2 was the General Radio Telephone VS4, the seldom heard vibration service. Thanks, Paul, for that. Radio number 3, Joe was on the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. The 4th radio was Paul on the Polytronics Polycom N8, the new Vista Style 8 radio. Radio number 5 was Mr. Go Boy on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Radio number 6 was Chris on the 23 Plus. Radio 7 was SWL7 on the Tram TR27E. I should have had a separate page for the walkie-talkies tonight. And even Mitch said he used to have a pair of the Space Patrol walkie-talkies that had, what do they call it, the Super Gen receivers, where you hear who's ever the loudest, meaning you're hearing everything at the same time, especially the station that's the loudest on whatever channel they happen to be on. I had some stuff like that, so that's always fun. You're trying to hear your buddy down, at the end of the block, and you can until somebody on channel 11 or 6 keys up, and you hear them instead. Fun stuff. Radio number 8, Eric on the Courier Royale. We have not heard a Courier Royale in a while, and they used to be the most heard radios many, many weeks. We had some stations that had not 1, not 2. Somebody used to have 3 of them and would check them all in and kind of stack the deck. Radio number 9, the Robin T123 from Mike. Also, Radio 10 was the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Was that the only Browning tonight? Yeah, the Mark III from Mr. Ed. Radio 11, the Robin T123B from Joe, and followed with the Robin T123B from Mike. So good stuff tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for everybody that, as always, taking time out of your Saturday evening away from whatever it is you're doing to jump into the Radio Shack and share your radios with us and say hello. On the SWL side, Let's see. I don't see any more comments there. And Dwayne says the radios all look better close to closing time. Yes, they do. And it seems like we always get the most at closing time. So people know it's that last call. When they hear that jingle singers talking about the modern radios, it's sort of like the last call for tubes. And they all come running up to the air chair, which is cool. That's the way we like it. 73, everybody. Good night. Have a great evening. And let me unkey to make sure that I'm not burning anything up around here. The Old Tube Radio Network.
Thanks, Dennis. Another great day.
Okay.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
Absolutely. And let me say, I see that someone has jumped into their radio room. It must have been a really good program on television there, 20.
Now I fell asleep and just woke up. Kind of throw another Browning in there, and you know which one. And the Demco Satellite Deluxe had the Civil Air Patrol, a transmit 26620, and all the switching was done by the transmitter, although you had some parts in the transmitter, some in the receiver. It was not an option in the super satellite. And to get it to work below the 11-meter band, they had a separate little plug-in chassis that plugged in the receiver, I believe. Or was it the transmitter? Let me think. No, in the receiver that allowed it to go down low enough. A tube and a little circuit. It's not in Sam's Photofax. You had to get that with the Demco Satellite Deluxe Owner's Manual, which I do have. And that's how they got that to work.
I always thought about that because the radios would go on those frequencies, but they're sort of out of its little transmit range and probably wouldn't work as well. So they actually had a circuit to help things out. And I was not even aware that they would do the cap channel or the channels, the frequencies. So in all my time, I don't think I ever knew anybody that was in the Civil Air Patrol that ran those frequencies and did anything, but they seemed to be in the radio, so obviously someone was using them.
Yes, they were. I believe General Radio Telephone, that Mystery Channel says CAP. How they get it to work with one crystal, I don't know. In the Demco transmitter, there is a separate crystal socket, and separate from the 23-channel setup. And you would have the Civil Air Patrol channel crystal plugged in that. And then you'd have a separate oscillator circuit, tune circuit, on that stand-up chassis that plugs in on top of the chassis of the receiver. And that thing you would tune for 26620, I believe. And it had a tube in there and all that. In the transmitter, the 6U8 tube worked as a transmit oscillator, half of it for the regular radio and the other half switched in for CAP. That's how they did that.
And I imagine they had some pretty clear frequencies. It might be before everybody was going below channel 1. So when there was lots of skip and things, you couldn't use all 23 channels. I bet it was pretty quiet down there for Civil Air Patrol. So probably worked well until people started jumping in on things. I was just looking over the items here. I want to say hello to our station, new station in Montebello, listening in. I remember going to CB breaks. I think it was Montebello and Cudahy was another one out there. This had been the early 1970s. Montebello was a big CB place back then for breaks and things like that. So, well, I don't know. Well, I'll have to do a little research on Civil Air Patrol and see what's going on with that. I want to say goodnight to our SWLs signing out, staying up late, staying up early Sunday morning. See, Harvey, everyone doesn't take a nap. Like you're ready to go. You're ready for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, I wish. Now, that would be the way it would work if I didn't have to work early in the morning, but I do. So, I got a little bit of sleep and then went, uh-oh, and got up just in time. Okay, I'll let you go, and I'll be back next week.
All right, very good. And we'll see what kind of, like Charlie Hustle says, 55, stay safe and see what happens on the DX. 11-meter DX has been pretty good. So 10 should be good. Certainly waiting for 10 meters to open. Maybe we can set up some, 29085, right? For some 10-meter AM stuff. For those that can get up on that frequency. I can see that happening next year. And when the band starts opening up, some Sunday afternoon 29085. Good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night, and 17's been working pretty well, too.
Yeah, I noticed that. There's a couple of stations that hang out there, and they are loud. It seems to kick out about, afternoon or 1 o'clock, but the morning stuff's really good.
Yep, morning right about to noon is really, really good.
And 17's a pretty, if you want to make a wire antenna, that's a band probably not too hard to do.
Yep, that's what I use, a wire.
All right, I'm going to decommission this. I'm hearing it's just breaking my squelch on 5.5. Must be somebody out there a ways.
Thanks. Hey, let me, I want to go back.
Oh, it is somebody there. All right.
See if they're listening to this one. Let me go over to 11 meters real quick. I'll be right back, okay? KJ6EQB.
Now that everything is kind of shut down right now, anyone have time for a question? Either OTR or maybe Ed?
Go ahead.
All right, Ed. First of all, you made me laugh over here, and you know why. That was just hilarious. I have a very difficult time bringing up the component of a vibrator. That Gonzit that I have that I'd never checked in before. As far as I know, that was like, well, I think that's the only radio I own that has a vibrator in it. Anyways, that was really funny. So my question for you or anyone else that's still listening, a Vox microphone or even maybe a Vox headset for tube radio, has anyone ever fooled around with that?
There are a few radios that will do that are tube radios, but not very many.
So with the Vox itself, and I'm sorry, I'm so ignorant in this area, the Vox itself would be part of the microphone, correct? And not the radio itself.
No, that would be the radio itself, not the microphone. A voice-operated transmit is within the radio, not the microphone.
So I have never, ever, even in my wildest dreams, thought that something as old as a vacuum tube radio would have had Vox. How old is Vox?
I'm not sure what the first radio was that had Vox. I'll have to look that up.
Okay, well, no big deal. You said that tube radios, 11-meter tube radios, You're at least aware of some that did have Vox?
I can tell you.
There you go. Harvey, go for it.
The very first Browning transmitter, the S9, had a Vox switch, normal and Vox on the right-hand side. And I think most microphones that are used with it, the switches disconnect the mic element with the radio. Most people use D104s or plus 2s or whatever. But if you use a banana mic where the element is in line, I think, and the Vox circuit is working, I think it'll work still.
So it would be impossible to rig a Robin T123 with a Vox microphone, correct?
I have to look to see, let me think. Yeah, unless you went in the radio and put a Vox type circuit in there, because it has to be able to key up the transmitter. And I'm not sure how the Robin does that. So, don't know. But you could have a separate Vox type circuit in a little box, and when you say something into the microphone, that activates a little relay in this box, which activates the transmit circuit in the radio. In other words, as if you were, pushing a button or whatever, on the mic. And then it would work, but I think your voice would be cut off slightly at the beginning. You'd have to say hello like that, and then people would hear most of the hello.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Ed, I don't know if you can see where I'm going with this. I would love to do a motorcycle mobile tube check-in at some point in time, but that'd be pretty tricky if you had to operate a hand-operated mic.
Yeah, that may be a little difficult with the background noise, but it could be probably done somehow.
Yeah, well, we'll just add that to the to-do list that probably will never get done.
Hey, Ed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember, didn't they used to have some old aircraft microphones that hooked around your neck? Or did you have to, push a button on it to get it to work? Remember those?
Oh, yeah, sure do.
I'm not sure how they actually keyed up, because I'd see people, touching their neck or their throat or whatever. But I imagine you could get some sort of
hey, there's Johnny I forgot to do the Johnny Defiant thing.
That hooked around your throat or something.
The Johnny Defiant.
When you spoke, it kind of picked up your voice. It probably wouldn't sound lifelike, but it would probably work.
I'll bet you the old military, like the airplanes, when they had to use the throat mic like that, more than likely had a voice operation. So, yeah, they probably had that back then, come to think about it.
Yeah, because the airplanes were really noisy. Till they came up with hand mics that were super-duper noise-canceling. Then the pilots could grab the mic or do that, or use a headset with super noise canceling. But I see where Mike's going with that. I would like that, but he'd be keying up every time he coughed or something like that.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Isn't this the key up every time you cough frequency?
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir. And then, Dennis, I don't know how tired you are. Man, I coffeed up big time, so I'm doing good tonight. I might have a question about your new Yaesu radio. Yeah, go ahead, Harvey.
Well, let's see if I can stay awake during most of this week coming up. If I can, I've got on the bench an S9 R2700, and it's got the Vox switch. I don't know if it's hooked up, but it's where I can, hey, get this, Mike, I can reach all the radios now. Anyway, I can, turn it on inside, look at the bottom and see. Then I'll take the D104 off and plug in a banana mic. I imagine I've got one somewhere around here, and see if it works. I have no idea, but if the circuit looks like it's there, I'll give it a shot.
That's just amazing. I had no idea that something like that would have even been available or on anyone's radar screen back then. That's amazing.
Well, remember, I believe amateur radios back then had Voxes. Dennis and Ed would know more about that. We're talking about 60, 59, 60, 61. So when Browning came out with the R2700, and people just loved that. A lot of amateurs kind of used it for, moved it around for 10 meters. And then Browning was asked to make a transmitter. That's what they made. They made the S9 with a Vox, because a lot of people apparently asked for it. It's the only one that's got it. And it looks kind of nice. The one I have doesn't look like it's been modified too much. Someone put a mic plug on the front. Should come out of the back. But it looks good. Right in line. Looks like it was made there. Anyway, I'll check it out and let you know.
Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely curious on that. Dennis, you're still awake? Yes.
I'm still here. We're still jumping around, and I've actually fixed my problem. Now that I have time to work on the video side, but I am still here. Over.
So I got a question for you. Your Yaesu FTM 400, is that up and running?
Yes, it is sitting here on the desk, and that is what I'm using for the crossband because it has a nifty output that's accessible. But it is up on 5.5. In fact, I think I heard you moments before you came back to 11 meters.
Okay. So on that guy, it's got a reasonably big screen on the readout. And is that screen, it's not like, it's just one big screen, right? It is not, I'm looking at a picture of it right now online, and because it's got dual receive, it's got, one particular frequency up on top and then another one towards the bottom of the screen. But that screen, it doesn't have like a kind of a plastic bar going horizontally in the middle, right? That is just one big, whatever, LCD or whatever it is. That's just one big screen on that thing, right?
Yeah, it's one big screen, big being relative because the radio's small, and it's bright. I think I've got the intensity down quite a bit, but this room is dark. And you may be able to do the adjusting the top and the bottom. Right now the top is on the 14655, and the bottom I've got on APRS because I was trying out the beaconing function. So if you go to the, I guess it's a Google APRS, you will see a familiar call sign beaconing out there. I've been trying that out, and it has. I have yet to hear anybody on, what is it, the C4 FDM on the 145.625, whatever the frequency. I haven't heard anybody on that yet, so I don't even know if anybody in town has something like that. And I have not tried the Wires X in the chat rooms or whatever the rooms are that you connect to the. And I have not done that yet. That's that's like a whole different, 100-page manual I just haven't had time to fool with. But that would be interesting because we have some people listening up in Washington. Tim Lifton's up there, and I think he has the Wires X, and he'd be able to patch into the program through this radio if I could figure out, take some time to work into the Wires X point. But to answer your question, it is a solid screen. If you see a bar or something that's just, you're looking at a picture that's on the display, like a separation between the two things or something. It's not a physical item at all. Over.
Okay. You're totally correct, and I probably could have answered my own question. So I'm on Universal Radio's webpage right now, and I clicked on the button I'd never clicked on before. And I can see, basically to answer my own question, I thought it would have been really, really, really cool, and I guess you could have seen this, but I thought it would have been a pretty cool idea to be able to go down Christmas Tree Lane and send you like a live picture, or at least a relatively live picture of whatever it was I was looking at. I was going to, before I headed out, I was going to borrow someone's cell phone and, just going to do it that way and email it to you or whatever. But then I thought, that'd be really cool if I could send it that way. But I wasn't sure if you needed to have that radio hooked up to a computer in order to display whatever picture it was that was sent. But no, I'm looking right now, and if you go to Universal Radio and you click on, oh goodness, I can't remember. You click on that radio, and then I can't remember if it was like screenshot or something like that. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably seven different views of the screen, and one of which is the snapshot screen. That's pretty cool. If I got, actually I don't need to unkey for a minute. If I had the handheld version of that radio and had the optional, I'm not even going to bother to read these letters and numbers. There's an optional handheld microphone that I can hook up to that the HT that actually has the camera built in there, so I can send pictures. That'd be pretty cool because I could take a picture of Christmas Tree Lane next year or whatever, and actually send it to you and have it pop up on your end, almost live.
Yeah, I forget that's an option with the microphone or whatever, and you've got to be obviously in a digital mode or sending it digital to do that. I read about that, but I don't have the external or the microphone for that. But I guess it's, a TFT display, so it's going to be on the little 3x3 screen or whatever it is. And then, I'd have a picture. I guess I would need yet another camera, right? Pointing at the screen on this thing to transmit the pictures back in that are coming over. Like I said, I've yet to make any type of digital or Wires X receiving or transmission on this radio. But again, I haven't played with it. I did do the APRS thing, which is actually up beaconing right now on the bottom screen. I think I've got it like once an hour. It sends out something, so it's not too obnoxious, and it seems to work. But yes, it's amazing what one can do in the digital realm, and there are no tubes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, well, this is interesting. I'm clicking on views and buttons on this radio that I've never paid attention to. That's a great radio, goodness sakes. I definitely like how my little, whatever it is, 60, FT60, just scans and sounds and everything. The scan rate on my 2000 is, man, it's slow, but that's a good radio, the 400 that you got there, and I think that FT3 is definitely something I'm kind of looking at.
Yeah, there's a 300, and then there's an FT2, which is the portable, and the 3. I think the 3 is the newer one that's pretty much like the 300 or the 400, just stuck into the handheld with either plus or minus some functions.
Yeah, the 3, the FT3DR, I think it's $389 at Universal Radio, and unless I'm mistaken, I think the HRO stores have them for a little bit less. But Ed, I don't know if Ed's listening, but the kind of the cool thing about the this Yaesu FT3DR is it's got built-in Bluetooth. So if you had, oh goodness sakes, there's a ton of different manufacturers that make little Bluetooth headsets that kind of you can integrate into a motorcycle helmet. You could be zipping around on a bike and basically be using a ham radio with no problems whatsoever.
Okay, well, I just realized the video stream is still up, so we'll say goodnight to those on the video.
Yeah,
the audio stream will be up for a while at oldtuberadio.net. Have a great rest of your weekend. Over.